Fairness. This is a big thing for little ones. It's not until around age 7 to 8 that children can even understand truly what fairness means. Welcome back to the series Q&A with Dr. J, where I answer questions that I have received inside of my membership that I've already answered that I think are so relatable. So your little one has picked up the phrase, "That's not fair," and uses it almost universally for every little thing. Anytime she doesn't get her way, like, an extra dessert or having to brush her teeth, she says, "That's not fair." And it's not malicious. She doesn't have any ill intention, but it is still triggering because one, she sounds like a broken record. She says it over and over and over for everything. And two, you're trying really hard as the parent to be fair amongst your children. So it feels like she's saying something that's like an attack on your parenting. So what do? In this episode, I'm going to talk about why children are obsessed with the concept of fairness and what they're really trying to say. 2, how to teach children what fairness actually means so that they can say it correctly. And then 3, some phrases and things to do in the moment so that you can stay patient and avoid losing your cool. Welcome back to another episode of Q&A with Dr. J. This is a series where I share questions that I've received inside of my private parent coaching community that I think are so good, so insightful, so relatable that I want to share them with you guys. Now, if you're looking for more support with your parenting, more coaching, more community, more ongoing classes and learning, then definitely check out my private membership. You can go to the mompsychologist.com/membership. So this was a question that I received from a mom, and she was talking about her 5-year-old saying some, upsetting things, and one of them being, "That's not fair," over and over and over again. And she says, I know she has no ill intention, which I love. I love when us parents can point that out. Like, yes, this is annoying. Yes, I want them to stop, but I know it's not coming from a bad place. I know that I don't have a bad kid just trying to be mean and give me a hard time. I love when we can point that out. And she goes on to say that she's saying this almost universally for anything she doesn't get to do or she doesn't want to do, even if it's something a part of the regular routine. Now, she says I suspect she's modeling this behavior from someone at school, and it's triggering because I try really hard to make things fair between her and her siblings. And so this mom is asking for wording, for language, of trying to have productive conversations around the concept of fairness. Now, fairness. This is a big thing for little ones because it's not until around age 7 to 8, typically, that children can even understand truly what fairness means, which is why it makes so much sense that this little one is not using it appropriately, right? And like she said, she's probably parroting this from something she's picked up at school, and now whenever she doesn't want to do something, it's, "That's not fair. That's not fair." She doesn't really have a grasp on what truly it means for something to be fair. And so while we are going to educate her, we are going to work on planting those seeds of education and knowledge. She's not fully going to grasp this until a couple years later, but it is with our help that she will grasp this even quicker. And so what we want to help children understand is that fairness is different than something being equal, right? Equal means it's the exact same thing, right? I get an ice cream, you get an ice cream. I have to brush my teeth, you have to brush your teeth. That's equal, right? And then there's fairness. Fairness is about meeting somebody's needs. And since everybody has different needs, it might look different from time to time what each person gets, because it's about everybody getting what they need. And so you can use the example of somebody wearing glasses. Not everybody wears glasses, but for this student, because their need is being able to see better, they need to wear glasses. So yes, it's unequal, if you want to quote unquote unequal, right? Not everybody is wearing glasses, but it's fair because everybody's getting their needs met. You can also use the example of babies and how they need more care and attention sometimes because they are so dependent on their caregivers, and that it's going to look different, and sometimes you will feel left out or you will need more attention, but everything is fair because mommy and daddy and the caregivers are working really hard to meet everybody's needs. So it's not that their need for attention and comfort and TLC is invalid. It's just that sometimes things are going to look differently based on trying to meet everybody's needs. So this is what you want to try to help your child understand. Again, not going to fully understand this concept until closer to 7 or 8. So even if you're planting these seeds and you're educating them on the difference between these terms, don't be surprised if they use the word again in an incorrect way. More practically speaking, here is how to respond. What you want to respond to is the feeling. Yes, I get it. This feels unfair, right? You want this, or you don't want to do this. And right now, this is really hard. Like, you want to lean into the resistance and help them label their feelings, right? Because that's where you want to stay, and you don't want to get too caught up in the labels and all of that. You want to focus on what is happening emotionally for them so that you can speak to that and then problem solve, right? Connect and then redirect. So you want to connect with the feelings. You can even, this depends on the certain situation, but you can ask your child, well, what would feel better for you, right? What would you like to see differently? Like, let's say it's teeth brushing. Okay, well, would you like to put your pajamas on or go to the bathroom or do something else a part of the routine first and then do our teeth brushing? So it's kind of like taking their feedback and seeing if there are ways that they can make, different choices or lead in a different way so that it feels fair. Now, again, every situation is different. This is not always possible, and we won't always want to lean into that. And it could be just enough to just lean into the feelings and be like, I get it. I get you. I get where you're coming from. This feels hard. This feels unfair. This feels uncomfortable. And then leave it at that. A lot of the times what you'll need to do is come up with a plan for how to meet her need or for her to get a turn. This happens with us, with my 2 daughters, and this feeling of unfairness because so-and-so got to go first for something or something like that. And so what we'll have to do is come up with a routine or a certain plan so that everybody feels like it's more quote unquote equal. So for instance, there was a lot of conflict around who gets to go first in taking their showers, who gets to sit in the front row of the car. You know how it is, right? Having kids, having siblings, especially when they're close in age, everybody wants to be the first. Everybody wants to do things, is perceived more special, right? So what we did is we alternate. It might sound a little weird, but every other week they alternate, right? So for 1 week, I'll have one daughter sit in the front row of the car while the other one sits in the back. And when you sit in the back row, you get to take your shower first. You get to have your hair done first. So that's how we mitigated it and came up with a schedule and a routine that worked for the both of them. And if it works for them, it works for me. So that's how we do things. And, recently I've started to transition into just planting those seeds of like, I hope, one day, I know it's okay if it's not right now, but I hope one day we can be more comfortable with not being first and, just like working on our flexibility and how we see, being first, being second, and all of those things. I hope that we'll work towards that one of these days, And again, it comes with time, but for right now, this is really important to them. And so having that structure, having that plan has gone a long way in them feeling like things are fair between the two of them. Now, does that cut back on all conflict? No, absolutely not. It just helps when we're getting into that emotional state to come down to a plan in a more logical, reasoning type of mindset. So to recap the main points, you want to help educate your little one on what fairness really means. It's about meeting everybody's needs. And since everybody has different needs, it might look different, what the adults do in the environment to meet everybody's needs, and focus on the feeling. Really what your child is trying to communicate with you is that they're feeling disappointed, discouraged, upset, scared, left out, whatever it is, right? They're having an emotional experience and it's manifesting as, it's not fair, right? And so you just want to kind of speak to the feeling as best as you can and make a plan. Invite them to give you feedback whenever it makes sense. And above all else, like, manage your reactions. This has nothing to do with your parenting per se. It's more about their emotional experiences and also their development and them not really understanding what fairness really means, but they're learning it more and more. And so when you take those opportunities to kind of educate them and help them understand why things look different, it will go a long way in them understanding how the world works. Now that is it for this episode. Let me know if you're tuning in on YouTube, how you would respond, or if your little one has said that before, or what other phrases they like to say, like a broken record that you're like, you are not using that in the right way. Let me know down in the comments. And again, if you're looking for more parent coaching and support and community, be sure to check out my private membership. You can go to themomspsychologist.com/membership for all of the details. All right, that is it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.